Imagine this terrifying scenario. You decide to casually step outside, perhaps to wave hello to a neighbor or fetch your daily mail. It feels routine, almost boring until suddenly your foot betrays you, slipping inexplicably on the solid pavement. Your body twists violently midair, crashing brutally onto the concrete curb. A sharp, agonizing pain shoots through your hip, paralyzing you with shock as you lie helplessly in the street, unable to move or even cry for help. Sounds exaggerated. Think again, this nightmare is chillingly real for thousands of older adults each year. Ignore these lurking dangers for just 5 more minutes, and you could face devastating outcomes. Prolonged hospitalizations, permanent disability, or life-threatening complications like blood clots or strokes. Every second you dismiss that subtle wobble in your step, you're gambling with your very life. The next innocent stroll could transform from a harmless activity into a medical catastrophe that leaves your body permanently shattered and your independence forever lost. Ask yourself right now, is today the day my bones finally betray me? For many over 65, the answer is horrifyingly yes. The truth is, bone fractures are only the beginning. A single broken hip can lead to a terrifying cascade: reduced mobility, dangerous blood clots, lurking silently in your veins, and a direct path to heart attacks or strokes. Falling isn't merely painful, it can set off a chain reaction of severe health crises you never anticipated, drastically shortening your life expectancy. But here's the chilling statistic that doctors dread revealing. According to the World Health Organization's terrifying report, more than 1 in 4 seniors over 65 falls every single year. Each tumble an invitation to surgeries, excruciating recovery periods, and the soul-crushing loss of independence. Worse yet, the trauma isn't just physical. Once confidence crumbles, isolation creeps in, leaving you too afraid to leave your home, spiraling into loneliness and depression. Stick with me because this video isn't here to frighten you without offering hope. I'm about to reveal shockingly simple, almost suspiciously easy strategies to bulletproof your balance, safeguard your steps, and prevent you from becoming another tragic statistic. Don't skip ahead because every second counts, and the next few minutes could be the difference between safely enjoying your golden years or losing everything to a preventable tragedy. Transition clinical story. I've known patients who've endured more than just a bruise from an unexpected fall. One such individual, let's call him Ron, was 69 years old and living alone when a single misstep in his dimly lit hallway fractured his hip. That injury was bad enough, but the real nightmare began after surgery. Because Ron had to remain in bed for weeks, he developed blood clots in his legs. One clot traveled dangerously close to a main artery, triggering concern for a potential stroke. Thankfully, doctors intervened in time, but it was a close call that rattled Ron's entire sense of security. By the time he returned home, his body had healed, but his self-assurance never fully recovered. Even walking around his living room turned into a source of anxiety. Ron's story underscores just how interconnected everything is. A fall can ignite a chain reaction that affects multiple organ systems. While not everyone faces the exact same complications, the possibility always hovers in the background, especially as we age. When we lose muscle mass and become less stable, each step becomes a gamble. Yet, believe it or not, there's a silver lining. Addressing a few key points in how we move can not only reverse a downward spiral, but also open up new confidence in daily activities. In the next sections, we'll examine why seemingly tiny details, like where you position your gaze or how your arms sway, can be the difference between a stable walk and a dreaded fall. This isn't about intense workouts that leave you drenched in sweat. Instead, we're focusing on expert-backed, medically sound modifications you can incorporate within minutes a day. At the urging of health professionals around the globe, seniors and their loved ones are encouraged to take immediate steps, quite literally, to reduce their risk of falling. We'll break down specific exercises, share cautionary tales, and look at how science supports each micro-adjustment. You'll also witness how these pointers can help protect you, not just from broken bones, but from secondary threats like a possible stroke. As Dr. Michael Greger, New England Journal of Medicine, 2013, often emphasizes, small, consistent changes have the power to shift the entire trajectory of your health. In Ron's situation, had he invested just a few minutes a day to reinforce ankle strength and refine posture, he might have dodged a lengthy hospital stay. Let's shift now to the science driving these recommendations, facts that demonstrate why these adjustments matter more than you might think. Kindi, science balance explained simply. How does the human body maintain its balance, and why does it become fragile over time? At its core, balance is a dynamic dance between your muscular system, your visual cues, and your inner ear. The muscles in your lower limbs, especially the smaller muscles in your feet and ankles, form the first line of defense against falls. They respond to subtle changes in ground surfaces or shifts in body position, adjusting tension and alignment in milliseconds. Meanwhile, your eyes feed your brain essential information about your surroundings, the gradient of the road, the height of a curb, or the presence of a stray object in your path. If your gaze is locked down at your feet, you deprive your brain of critical peripheral updates and can't react in time to avoid a hazard. Then there's the inner ear, home to the vestibular system, which helps your mind interpret motion and spatial orientation. As we age, this system can diminish in its acuity, and things like medications, infections, or chronic illnesses can exacerbate the decline. Combine that with weaker muscles and a narrower base of support due to reduced stride length, and suddenly a trivial obstacle can topple you. According to Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health Balance and Aging Study, 2016 ongoing physical activity can mitigate this decline, and targeted exercises have been shown to improve overall stability. The synergy is simple but non-negotiable: strong ankles, engaged posture, aligned vision, and a functional vestibular system unite to keep you upright. The flip side is also true. If you neglect these systems, the probability of an accident skyrockets. We're not talking about a minor stumble and quick recovery. Seniors often suffer fractures that require surgery, and that kind of trauma can lead to lengthy hospital stays where the risk of infections or pneumonia creeps up. It's a grim picture that no one wants to face yet. Too many face it precisely because they assume a few safe steps around the home are harmless. The takeaway: balance is not a static trait you either have or lack. It's a capacity that demands periodic maintenance, especially past the age of 65. Next, we'll delve into the actionable points, shining a bright light on small daily habits you can adopt that have a big payoff. Archimantina. Action Plan, Section 1, Foot and Ankle Strength. We start with what may appear to be the smallest components of your walking apparatus: your toes, ankles, and the intricate network of muscles that connect them. It might seem inconsequential to focus on these body parts rather than bigger muscle groups like the thighs or the glutes. But research has revealed that foot and ankle stability is a linchpin for safe ambulation. Consider a house built on a wobbly foundation. It doesn't matter how solid the walls or the roof are if the base can't hold steady. Likewise, if your ankles roll in or out due to weakness, or if your toes can't grip the ground to adjust for uneven surfaces, you're at risk every time you stand up. The best news is that you can rekindle foot and ankle strength in as little as 3 minutes a day. For instance, place a small rolled-up towel on the ground in front of you as you sit. Use your toes to scrunch the towel toward yourself, then push it away again. This motion activates the lesser-known muscles in your feet, ones responsible for fine-tuning your balance. Another helpful drill involves seated heel raises. Lift your heels off the floor for about 5 seconds, then lower them slowly. Repeat these reps a few times until you feel a mild burn in your calf muscles. This signals that you're recruiting the stabilizing elements you need. A powerful story illustrating these fundamentals comes from Martha, a 70-year-old retiree who loved gardening but lived in dread of tripping on uneven lawns or garden hoses. She practiced these ankle and toe exercises daily each session, lasting no more than 5 minutes. Before long, she noticed her foot placement on soil or grass felt more secure, like she had regained a connection with the ground beneath her. That emotional reassurance carried over into her daily life, allowing her to step outside with less hesitation. Of course, be sure to consult your physician before launching any new exercise routine. Especially if you've had past surgeries or chronic conditions, you'll want professional input to tailor these exercises to your capacity. It's never wise to drop prescribed treatments or ignore your doctor's advice. These foot and ankle strategies should complement, not replace, what your medical team advises. Action Plan Section 2, Arm Swing and Counterbalance. Next, let's turn our attention to a surprise hero in the quest for better stability. Your arms. Did you know that each time your left leg moves forward, your right arm should naturally swing with it and vice versa? This cross-body motion acts like the pendulum in a grandfather clock, helping your torso remain centered. Yet in older adults, you'll often see the arms barely move or remain stiff at the sides. This habit arises for various reasons: lack of awareness, joint stiffness, even self-consciousness about how one appears while walking. But if you fail to let your arms swing, you essentially remove a critical balancing mechanism. Without that counter sway, your gait can become lopsided. You might unconsciously start shuffling or leaning to one side to compensate, which raises your risk of tripping or stumbling. The remedy is startlingly simple practice: an intentional arm swing. Start with short distances in your hallway or backyard. Consciously bend your elbows about 90 degrees, relax your shoulders and let your hands float near your hips. Move the right arm forward as your left foot steps. Then reverse. At first, this might feel forced, but with repetition, it will begin to feel natural again. I recall a gentleman, Mr. Fernandez, who was 74 and disliked feeling silly by exaggerating his arm movement. He told me he thought it made him look like a marching band member. Yet after a few coaching sessions, he reported feeling less tired in his lower back and hips because his arms were doing their job to steady his walk. Interestingly, that improvement in posture also heightened his sense of confidence. Remember, as you practice, take it slow and consult your physician if you have any concerns about joint pain or arthritis. The arm swing might be a small move, but it has a big payoff in minimizing the possibility of a dangerous fall. Action Plan Section 3, Focusing your gaze for better posture. Another often overlooked element of stable walking is where you direct your eyes. Many older adults lock their gaze on the ground, worrying about rocks, cracks in the pavement, or other unseen hazards. Ironically, constantly looking down can trip you up. When the head juts forward, the shoulders cave in the spine, bends, and your center of gravity shifts in front of your base of support. That posture sets you on a collision course with the floor if something unexpected happens, like a stray dog crossing your path or a small child running by. Instead, aim your line of sight 10 to 15 feet ahead. That distance allows your peripheral vision to take in both the horizon and immediate hazards. Periodic downward glances can be done by moving just your eyes, not your entire neck and upper body. This approach broadens your sensory awareness. You can detect changes in the terrain without sacrificing a head-up posture. A small adjustment in visual focus can transform your entire alignment, making you stand taller and walk more confidently. One 82-year-old man, Harold, made this change and told me he felt more in control, especially when navigating parking lots. He no longer found himself with a forward hunched shuffle, and the shift in posture alleviated some chronic tension he'd felt in his neck. As with all of these pointers, please consult your physician if you have any neck or eye conditions that might limit your range of motion. Action Plan Section 4, Engaging your core and hips. A crucial element underemphasized in everyday conversations about fall prevention is the role of the core and hips. While the original tips often focus on feet, ankles, or arm swings, don't neglect those central muscles around your trunk and pelvis. These areas act as the stabilizing hub, ensuring each step is anchored by a strong core. If your hips are weak or misaligned, your knees and ankles bear extra stress, increasing the risk of stumbling. Engaging your core doesn't require intense abdominal workouts. Try pelvic tilts while standing near a sturdy chair or counter. Gently tuck your pelvis forward as if you're pulling your navel toward your spine. Then release. Each tilt should be subtle, focusing on control rather than speed. To strengthen the hips, side leg lifts can be done while holding onto a table for balance. Lift one leg to the side a few inches, hold for a second or two, then lower slowly. Do a few reps per side. These small movements fortify the muscles that keep your gait aligned. I recall an 80-year-old nurse, Sarah, who had spent decades on her feet in a busy hospital environment, but retirement led to less physical activity, and she began noticing that her lower back felt weak. Her family worried about her risk of falling. Through gentle core and hip exercises, she regained the ability to stand for extended periods without fatigue. She even resumed volunteering at a local clinic. Her success story demonstrates that these efforts pay dividends in both safety and personal fulfillment. Always remember, though, to consult your physician before beginning any new exercise to ensure these activities are suitable for your health profile. Action Plan Section 5, Consistency and Mindful Practice. Finally, no set of techniques will matter much if you don't incorporate them into your daily life. Consistency is the real magic behind safer walking. You don't need to start with an hour-long regimen. Even 5 minutes a day done reliably can yield profound benefits over time. Pick a moment that already fits your routine. Maybe right after you wake up, during a TV commercial break, or before bedtime. In those few minutes, run through the toe scrunches, heel raises, arm swings in place, or quick posture checks. Each mini session is like casting a vote for your future stability. Furthermore, mindful practice extends beyond these targeted exercises. Pay attention to your walking form whenever you move. Are you leading with your head down? Are your shoulders slumped? Are your feet shuffling? By making a habit of scanning your alignment, you can catch problematic stances in the moment. This approach turns each stroll across the living room into a mini training session that solidifies safe movement patterns. I remember hearing from an older gentleman named Frank, who used to set an alarm on his phone every few hours, reminding him to get up and do just 2 minutes of ankle rolls and arm swings. He confessed that it felt tedious at first, but after a few weeks, he realized he was walking with greater assurance. He even ventured out to the local mall without clinging to a cane. Again, consult your physician for personalized advice, especially if you have balance disorders or are recovering from an injury. Consistency coupled with mindful awareness can transform your gait from wobbly to rock steady over time. Sakrichuan called a comment. Before we continue, I want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed this sign? Comment "I feel it" if you relate "I'm safe" if not, and add a question for the doctor. Your questions help us tailor future content that addresses your concerns. We're building a community where seniors can find both scientific guidance and emotional support to stay active, engaged, and free from the fear of toppling over. Don't be shy. Your stories and challenges can inspire someone else to take control of their health. Chushapkati, Virality Enhancer, the Missing Spark, a 7-day checklist. The original recommendations often give us tips, but let's supercharge their impact by creating a structured 7-day challenge. Why 7 days? Because research shows that establishing a new habit can start to become comfortable within about a week, laying a foundation for longer-term change. Share this with your friends or family and challenge them to join as well. Encouragement from a spouse, sibling, or neighbor can be the exact nudge you need to keep going. 1 day, 1 toe and ankle activation. Spend 3 minutes performing the towel scrunch exercise. Follow it with 5 heel raises, holding each raise for 5 seconds. Do this once in the morning and once in the evening. 2 day 2 arm swing reminder. Take a slow walk around your home or backyard for 5 minutes. Focus on exaggerating your arm swing. Right arm with left leg, left arm with right leg. Make sure your elbows bend around 90 degrees and remain relaxed. day 3 gaze and posture check. Set an alarm for 3 separate times during the day. Each time it rings, stand up straight. Look 10-15 feet ahead if possible and walk a short distance, keeping your head and shoulders aligned. Observe how your body feels when your head is up instead of down. 4 day 4 core and hip tuning. Do 5 pelvic tilts while holding onto a stable piece of furniture. Or perform 5 side leg lifts on each leg, keeping movements controlled. And if you can repeat the cycle once more in the afternoon, of day 5, combine and conquer. Choose a safe short walking route, perhaps up and down your hallway or driveway. Apply all the tips simultaneously to awareness, arm swing, upright, gaze, and slight core engagement. If you feel uncertain, walk near a counter or railing for support. 6 day 6 rest and reflect. You don't need to skip movement entirely, but use today to reflect on your progress. Journal or mentally note any improvements. Do you feel steadier, less anxious? Section: lightly review the exercises, but keep it gentle. 7 day 7 graduation stroll. Reward yourself by taking a slightly longer walk, only if you feel comfortable and safe. Imagine how far you've come in these last 6 days. Share a victory moment with a friend or relative. Celebrate that you've stuck to the challenge. By day 7, you'll likely notice some positive changes in your stability, even if they're subtle. Keep the momentum going. Repeat this weekly or embed these habits into your daily routine. And always consult your physician if anything feels off or if you're managing other health issues. This challenge is meant to supplement your standard medical care, not replace it. Virality enhancer anonymized case studies. Let's spotlight a few more cases, though I've changed names and certain details to protect identities. One case study, Barbara, age 77, librarian. Barbara had a fall in her kitchen that led to a fractured wrist. Although her wrist healed, she developed a profound fear of walking on tiled floors. After trying the 7-day plan, she gradually regained her balance and overcame the anxiety that caused her to stare at her feet. She now shares these pointers with other seniors at her local library's weekly health club. Two-case study, John, age 82, retired mechanic. John had a robust physique from years of manual labor, but neglected his smaller stabilizer muscles. A minor slip in his garage scared him into taking action. After incorporating toe scrunches and conscientious arm swings, he found that his posture improved. He no longer felt that unsettling sway when turning corners. Three-case study, Marilyn, age 70, part-time school volunteer. Marilyn began noticing a tendency to shuffle her feet in crowded hallways at the elementary school where she volunteered. Concerned she might trip over a child, she practiced the 7-day challenge, diligently placing special emphasis on looking ahead instead of down. 2 weeks later, she reported feeling like she had a new lease on her volunteer activities. Each of these individuals had different lifestyles and concerns, yet they all discovered that fall prevention strategies are universal. They don't require expensive gadgets or hours at a gym. They just need steady commitment and a willingness to believe in the power of seemingly small movements. Come on, science check expert quotes and data. To further underscore the legitimacy of these methods, let's cite a few authorities. One, World Health Organization, WHO Global Report on Falls Prevention, 2007. They emphasize active engagement of older adults in balance and strength training significantly reduces fall risk. 2, Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health Balance and Aging Study, 2016. Their research concluded that a well-rounded approach that incorporates lower limb strengthening, visual awareness, and gait training can preserve mobility and independence in older populations. 3, Dr. Michael Greger, published in New England Journal of Medicine, 2013. He states small, consistent changes have the power to shift the entire trajectory of your health, especially in preventing accidents that lead to further complications. These quotes reaffirm that staying upright isn't just a matter of luck. Rather, it's the product of intention, routine, and science-backed practices. Each principle we've covered, from ankle exercises to focused gazes, aligns with established research on geriatric health and biomechanics. Of course, we can't emphasize enough these tips supplement your prescribed healthcare plan. Always consult your physician for personalized advice. Come on. Further expansion, the balance-brain connection. You might wonder, how does my brain figure into all this besides telling my legs to move? Actually, your brain is constantly analyzing signals from your muscles, joints, and eyes. This real-time analysis occurs in a region called the cerebellum. As you age, or if you suffer from conditions like small vessel disease in the brain, that internal processing can slow, and miscalculations in your body's position are more likely. That's one reason older adults can trip on rugs or slip on wet surfaces. The reflex time needed to sense a hazard and correct the foot's placement is significantly diminished. Think of it like a computer that needs regular updates. If you never update the system, it runs slower and is more prone to crashes. Engaging in balance exercises, posture drills, and conscious walking patterns effectively updates your brain's software, reinforcing neural pathways that govern stable movement. Repetition is key. Each time you perform those toe curls or concentrate on your arm swing, you strengthen these brain muscle links. This is why consistency matters so much. It's not only about building muscle memory, but also about refining the nervous system's ability to predict and adapt to unexpected changes in your environment. Don't forget the role of mental health. Anxiety about falling can paradoxically increase fall risk, as tension disrupts fluid movement and reaction time. By systematically practicing balance-enhancing activities, you're also training your mind to trust your body. That trust can alleviate some of the fear that leads to stiff, hesitant movements. Movements that ironically raise the likelihood of falling again. None of this should override medical counsel. If you have diagnosed neurological or musculoskeletal issues, it's crucial to work with your doctor or physical therapist to tailor a program that respects your limitations. Digging deeper, preventing compound risks like stroke. You might still be wondering, what does any of this have to do with serious conditions like a stroke? Here's the connection: falls can trigger a domino effect in which mobility is severely restricted. When you can't move freely, you're at higher risk for other health problems, such as blood clots forming in your legs. A clot that travels to the brain can cause a stroke, a medical emergency that often results in irreversible damage. So while the immediate concern in a fall is a broken bone or hospitalization, the longer-term consequences can be even more severe. As Dr. Anthony Komaroff wrote in the Journal of the American Medical Association, JAMA 2014, immobility following injury can escalate the risk of cardiovascular and cerebrovascular events. This underscores why preventing that initial slip is crucial. When you remain active, you keep blood flowing properly through your vessels, decreasing the odds of clot formation. Plus, the act of walking, especially with good posture and adequate muscle engagement, stimulates the heart and circulatory system. Although none of these exercises can guarantee you'll never have a serious health issue, they form part of a holistic strategy to maintain overall vitality. Remember, it's never about giving up your physician's recommended therapies or medications. Instead, see these balance and walking tactics as another layer of protection. If you're already on medication to control blood pressure or other conditions, continuing those treatments is paramount. You're simply adding a proactive approach to daily movement, something that can bolster your resilience in ways that pills alone cannot. In short, stable walking isn't just about avoiding a tumble. It's about nurturing a lifestyle that supports overall heart health and reduces the chance of catastrophic events down the line. More on fear and confidence, the psychological aspect. Fear is powerful. If you've had even a minor slip that shook you, the mental impact can linger for weeks, months, or even years. One of the gravest outcomes of repeated or near falls is the so-called fear of falling syndrome, a phenomenon recognized by geriatric psychologists. Individuals who develop this fear begin to walk slower with smaller steps, sometimes refusing to leave the house. They might abandon once loved activities like gardening or walks with friends, further eroding their quality of life. Paradoxically, the more cautious and stiff your movements become, the higher your risk of actually toppling. Stiffness robs you of the natural elasticity and reflexes your body relies on to recover from a slight misstep or a small bump against a coffee table. This is why focusing on regaining a smooth, confident gait is so essential. By setting tangible goals like walking a certain distance each day or practicing the 7-day challenge, you also retrain your mind to trust in your body's capabilities. Consider the story of 68-year-old Patricia. She had no major medical issues but was terrified of falling again after one incident on wet grass. She limited her outings and even avoided invitations from her friends that involved outdoor activities. Through regular sessions with a physical therapist practicing toe scrunches, gentle core work, and mindful arm swings, she reestablished confidence in her stride. This psychological boost was every bit as important as the physical improvements. Patricia now meets her friends for walks twice a week, feeling liberated from the haunting fear that once held her back. The key takeaway: fostering physical stability also nurtures emotional resilience, making daily life feel safer and more fulfilling. Keenan. Support systems and follow-up. Many seniors benefit greatly from group-based programs such as local senior center classes or hospital-run fall prevention workshops. These gatherings provide more than just an exercise routine. They also offer social interaction, which can motivate you to stick to a regimen. Having peers around who share similar concerns and goals can diminish the sense of isolation that often accompanies aging. It's not uncommon for participants to exchange personal strategies or tips they've learned from their own healthcare providers. This collective wisdom can be a powerful tool in preventing accidents. Follow-up is also crucial. Even if you feel steady now, aging is an ongoing process that can alter your balance over time. Schedule periodic checkups or evaluations with your physician or physical therapist to reassess your gait and posture. They might notice small adjustments in your stance or strength deficits you weren't aware of. By catching these developments early, you can address them proactively. Think of it as a routine maintenance schedule for your body, the same way you take your car for an oil change before a long road trip. Alongside structured programs, Technological aids can help. Devices like smart canes or balance tracking wearables exist, though they're not mandatory. Some people prefer a simpler approach like having sturdy handrails in hallways or using non-slip mats in areas prone to water spills such as kitchens and bathrooms. Even these home modifications can complement the balance exercises you perform, forming a multi-layered safety net. Always discuss new devices or major home changes with a professional. If you have any doubts, and continue to consult your physician for tailored advice, especially if you're recovering from injury or dealing with chronic conditions. Touchinat. Bonus section: 24-hour challenge to jumpstart safer walking. If a week sounds too daunting, why not start with a 24-hour challenge? Sometimes a short burst of focused effort can break through procrastination. Here's how it could look. Morning, 5 minutes. Roll your toes over a small towel, scrunching it toward you and pushing it away. Perform 5 heel raises. Afternoon, 5 minutes. Stand near a wall or table. Practice deliberate arm swings, right arm with left arm with right leg for a short stroll. Check your posture. Evening, 5 minutes. Do gentle pelvic tilts and side leg lifts, followed by a quiet walk around your living room, focusing on looking ahead, not down. After completing these steps in one day, write down how you feel. Do you notice any difference in how you carry yourself or how confident you feel when turning corners? A small win today might become the motivation to tackle a longer plan tomorrow. If pain or discomfort arises, consult your physician immediately. This 24-hour challenge shouldn't replace any therapy or routine your doctor has already recommended. It's a springboard to get you moving in the right direction. The importance of progress tracking. One of the best ways to stay motivated is to note your improvements. Sometimes the changes are subtle. Maybe you realize you can step off a small curb without bracing yourself, or you notice that you don't feel as wobbly after sitting for a long stretch. Keep a simple log on your phone or in a small notebook. Each day, jot down whether you did the exercises, how you felt, and if you had any near falls. A pattern of good days can serve as proof that your efforts are paying off. You can also track metrics like how many consecutive steps you can take without feeling fatigued. If you start at 200 steps and gradually climb to 400, that's progress you can see in real numbers, or measure how long you can stand on one foot with support before losing balance. Even a difference of a few seconds indicates growth. The most crucial aspect is to celebrate these micro victories. A positive mindset combined with consistent effort is a potent formula for lasting results. As an award-winning physician journalist, I can't stress enough that none of these methods should supplant the role of medical experts in your life. Your doctor knows your history, your medication regimen, and your unique vulnerabilities. So as you implement these strategies, keep the lines of communication open. Let your healthcare providers know if you experience any pain or if your balance seems to be worsening despite your efforts. They can adjust your treatments or therapy to support your newfound commitment to safer walking. True. Revisiting the link to cardiovascular health. While this conversation is anchored in preventing falls, remember that regular movement, especially walking, is a cornerstone of cardiovascular wellness. In older adults, physical activity can help regulate blood pressure, improve circulation, and support a healthier weight, thus reducing stress on the heart. According to a study from the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute 2019, incorporating regular mild exercise like walking can lower the risk of stroke by as much as 20%. But here's the caveat: this benefit only applies if you're actually walking. If you're paralyzed by fear of falling or recovering from repeated accidents, you lose that protective advantage. That's another reason focusing on stable mobility is so vital. The better you walk, the more confidently you can sustain moderate exercise routines that bolster heart health. Conversely, the less you move, the more vulnerable you become to weight gain, joint stiffness, and diminished cardiac function, among other issues. It's all interconnected. A stable walk not only saves you from a trip to the emergency room, it might also reduce your risk of a stroke or heart attack in the long run. This synergy underscores why these simple tips carry so much weight, pun intended. None of this implies you should jump into a 10,000 steps a day regimen if you're starting from a place of minimal activity. Gradual progression is key. If you haven't walked for more than 5 minutes at a time in months, consult your physician and begin gently. Use the exercise segments in this script as your starting blocks, layering in extra steps as your confidence and muscle strength grow. Safety first always. There's no trophy for ignoring caution and pushing yourself to the point of injury. Ganakun, real-world scenario taking it outside. At some point, you might feel ready to venture beyond your living room or backyard. This is where real-world unpredictability comes into play. Uneven sidewalks, wet leaves in the fall gravel paths, or the occasional rogue skateboard. The best approach: start small, choose a flat, familiar route. Inspect your footwear beforehand. Shoes with sturdy soles and a supportive fit are essential. If you need a cane or walker, ensure it's adjusted to the proper height. Over time, as you build up your resilience with consistent indoor practice, these outdoor variables won't feel as intimidating. I recall a 73-year-old gardener named Lionel who longed to walk around his neighborhood pond again. He worked on his ankle strength, arm, swing, and posture indoors for about a month. Then he tried short distances outside, always wearing shoes with good grip and using a walking stick for extra stability. Gradually, he reintroduced the routines he once enjoyed. A year later, Lionel was volunteering with a nature conservation group, leading small tours around that very pond. His transformation was fueled by both physical training and a determination to reclaim the activities he loved. Let that story serve as a reminder. It's never too late to restore a sense of adventure as long as you anchor your steps in safety. Second call to comment for engagement. If you've made it this far, let's hear from you again. Which tip resonates with you the most right now? Foot and ankle drills, focusing your gaze forward, or something else entirely? Share your thoughts below and don't forget to comment, "I feel it." If you've battled these balance worries, or "I'm safe." If you feel confident but just want to stay on top of your game. Also feel free to pose any fresh questions for me or your fellow viewers. Collective wisdom makes us stronger, so let's crowdsource our success. Reach. Overcoming setbacks and plateaus. No journey is free of bumps. You might find that progress seems to stall at times. Perhaps you feel steadier for a week, then experience a worrisome near fall. Don't let that shake your resolve. Often plateaus or small setbacks are a normal part of skill development, especially in older age. Instead of viewing it as failure, see it as an opportunity to refine your methods. Are you rushing your steps? Did you forget to engage your core muscles or keep your arms swinging? You might also consider consulting a physical therapist for a more individualized approach. Sometimes seniors discover hidden barriers like one leg being slightly shorter or a foot alignment issue that complicates the process. Addressing those specifics can lead to a second wave of improvements, ensuring you move past the plateau. If frustration builds, remember why you started: to protect your independence, avoid preventable injuries, and maintain a body that can carry you through daily tasks and enjoyments. Progress is rarely a straight line. It's more like a winding path, but the destination, greater freedom and safety, is absolutely worth the effort. Another real-life example: Ellen's transformation. Ellen, a 71-year-old piano teacher, reached out to me after watching a video on safe walking methods. She practiced daily foot-strengthening techniques and started paying attention to her posture. Over time, she noticed something unexpected. Her piano students commented that her shoulders looked more relaxed while she taught. This wasn't merely about preventing falls. Her entire demeanor changed because she was more aware of how she carried herself. Ellen's transformation exemplifies a broader truth. When you correct your stance and movement patterns, you can ease tension not just in the lower body, but across the neck and shoulders. This relaxation can translate into better breathing and reduce stress, which in turn can positively affect other areas of life, such as hobbies or social interactions. While the initial goal was to sidestep falls, Ellen gained a newfound sense of composure that benefited her beyond walking. Such stories show that a single focus on foot placement or arm swing can ripple into transformative overall well-being. Structuring your support network. As you embark on this safer walking journey, gather a circle of support. This might be family, friends, caregivers, or other seniors also striving to avoid falls. Explain the tips you're trying, like toe exercises and posture checks, so they can remind you if they see you lapse into old patterns. Mutual accountability accelerates habit formation. If you belong to a religious community or social club, consider forming a small group dedicated to mobility wellness. You can meet periodically to share updates, swap success stories, and keep each other motivated. Don't forget online resources. Many health organizations offer free videos or PDF guides that expand on these principles. Checking reputable websites like those from the WHO or major clinics can provide new angles on familiar exercises, preventing boredom. Just stay vigilant about unverified claims. Not every website or influencer has your best interest at heart. If a claim sounds too good, like miraculous improvements in hours, approach it with caution. Real lasting change often requires diligence and time, not quick fixes. Always circle back with your healthcare provider to verify any new routine you encounter. Chaturvari, the hazards of home design. Take a moment to evaluate your living space. Loose rugs, poorly lit corridors, and wobbly furniture can undermine your fall prevention efforts. You might be training diligently, but if you have an overly cluttered living room or stray electrical cords, you're courting danger each time you walk across the room. Simple modifications like removing throw rugs, installing nightlights along hallways, and rearranging furniture to create clear pathways can drastically reduce your fall risk. If you must keep certain rugs for warmth or aesthetics, secure them with non-slip backing. For those who have stairs, consider installing secure handrails on both sides, not just one. Bathrooms often present particular risks. Grab bars by the toilet and in the shower, along with slip-resistant mats, can offer critical support. Think of these improvements as part of your overall safe walking plan. The environment in which you move should complement your newfound walking habits, not sabotage them. If finances are tight, local organizations sometimes offer grants or discounted services for home modifications aimed at senior safety check, with community centers or county offices for more information. Why you should never give up prescribed care. A crucial point, these balance-boosting tips aren't a replacement for prescribed medical treatments. If your doctor has prescribed medication to manage blood pressure, high cholesterol, or any other condition, continue with that regimen. Falls are multifactorial, and medical professionals often spot factors you can't see, such as the side effects of certain drugs that might affect balance or blood sugar levels that can lead to dizziness. They might also advise you about vitamin deficiencies like vitamin D that can weaken bones, making fractures more likely if you do fall. Think of your doctor's guidance as the trunk of a tree, providing stability. These exercises and lifestyle changes are like branches that enhance your well-being. You need both for a fully formed, resilient system. If at any point you're unsure about how your medications interact with your new exercise routine, talk to your physician right away. Better to ask questions than to proceed in ignorance and risk harming yourself. Being proactive also helps your doctor tailor your care. Many appreciate patients who take ownership of their health and engage in dialogue about new or improved strategies. Share your balance in everyday activities. Beyond dedicated exercise sessions, strive to incorporate balance practice into ordinary tasks. When you're brushing your teeth, can you do a few heel lifts? If you're waiting for the kettle to boil, how about a round of arm swings or posture checks? Turning daily moments into mini skill-building sessions is an effective way to keep your body primed for safe movement. Of course, remain cautious. If standing on one foot while brushing your teeth feels unstable, hold on to the counter or skip that variation altogether. Cooking can also provide opportunities. Instead of rushing through meal prep, pivot smoothly as you gather ingredients from different parts of the kitchen. Maintain a conscious posture, chin up, shoulders, back core slightly engaged. Over time, these micro habits become second nature, and you might even find cooking or household chores less draining. A stable stance reduces fatigue and mitigates strain on the spine. Just be mindful of potential hazards. No posture practice is worth risking a burn or slip on a wet surface. Safety always tops the list. Tuninoni. Staccato warning: the cost of inaction. Pause for a moment if you disregard everything in this script. If you continue shuffling your feet with your head down, you're voluntarily stepping onto a high-risk path. One slip could lead to the emergency room. One fracture could confine you to bed for weeks. One complication could invite a stroke. Is that the legacy you want for your golden years? It might sound blunt, but the cost of inaction is staggering. Falls are already the leading cause of injuries in older adults, often marking the start of a downward spiral in quality of life. Hospital bills can drain savings while the emotional toll can isolate you from your favorite activities. By ignoring these warnings, you risk letting a single misstep define the rest of your life. Don't let that happen. You have the power to fortify your foundation right now. Burkini, shrink return to hope and motivation. Although the risks are real and pressing, the solutions are within reach. Every exercise we've discussed is grounded in medical insight and practical evidence from everyday people just like you. You don't need to be an athlete. You don't even need a gym membership. All you need is the willingness to carve out a few minutes a day to concentrate on your movement patterns. In doing so, you'll build not only stronger muscles, but also deeper confidence in your body's ability to support you. Imagine walking across your living room without that nagging fear in the back of your mind. Picture yourself strolling through a park, greeting neighbors or grandchildren with a relaxed smile rather than a worried grimace. These aren't pipe dreams. They're real possibilities that arise from consistent practice. Remember, as Dr. Michael Greger has pointed out, small daily choices accumulate into profound changes over time. Whether you're 65 or 85, you're not too old to make these shifts. Start with one tip, integrate it into your routine, and then add another. Progress might be modest at first, but it will come. Call to action for sharing and spreading the word. We're nearing the end, but your journey doesn't stop here. If you found value in these strategies, consider sharing them with someone you care about, perhaps a neighbor, a friend at church, or a family member who's also getting up in years. Forward this script, discuss the 7-day checklist, or simply mention a few tips during your next phone call. Information has the power to save lives, but only if it's shared. Feel free to adapt the 7-day challenge for your specific needs or create a personalized variation that includes tasks like short walks in your neighborhood. The point is to keep the momentum going, and if you encounter setbacks or have questions, revisit this guide or check in with medical professionals who can fine-tune your approach. You might even find new ways to combine these methods, like toe strengthening drills coupled with mindful breathing techniques for relaxation. The possibilities are as limitless as your commitment to safety. The ultimate recap, 3 rapid-fire bullet points. 1. Strong foundations. Focus on small muscles in your feet and ankles and engage your arms, core, and hips to reinforce balance from the ground up. 2. Mindful posture and gaze. Keep your head up and eyes scanning ahead, not locked on the floor. This alignment lowers your risk of tipping forward. 3. Consistency is key. Integrate 3 to 5 minutes of targeted drills into daily life and maintain regular check-ins with your physician to stay on track. A second, final invitation and open question. If you've absorbed all this and are ready to take action, please like, subscribe, and share this content with others who might benefit. Post your experiences or any tips you found helpful in the comments. You never know who you'll inspire. And now for one final question to keep the conversation rolling. What is the biggest obstacle stopping you from feeling fully confident in your daily walks? Let's discuss and strategize together. Stay safe, stay active, and remember, each step you take, taken with awareness and intention, is an investment in a healthier, more independent future.